Commissioner Diaz is here.
Here.
Commissioner Farrow
Present.
and Commissioner Roach is present. For the record, we have a quorum. The first order of business would be to accept the minutes of the regular board meeting held on February 20th. Unless there's any questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
And seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it sounds
Aye.
like it's unanimous. Minutes have been accepted. The chief of police will not be with us this evening, and we don't have representation from the union. So we can move on to the clerk's report. Lieutenant Lyons has a few items that she would like to cover, so I'll turn it over to the lieutenant. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have 4 boroughs hearings that are needed. I spoke to Lieutenant Rosem with Internal Affairs. He believes that the 4 could be split between 2 different days, with one on each day, maybe not one on each day being able to maybe come to an agreement, and the other 2 might have a discussion. So we need 2 dates for those. I know April's busy for, we want to get it all done quickly, but I know April is busy for the union and internal affairs and our labor for the borough. So I don't know if we want to go further out or just try to pick a date and see if we can get something combined.
Okay, you're talking about for April, or is April
For
doesn't
April,
work?
for April, it's just limited days. The union's
Okay.
only available on the 1st and maybe the 9th, and then Attorney Cronin isn't available for the whole second half, so it's very limited on the days.
Okay.
So I don't know if we want to just push it out further or just pick a day and see if we can get other representation to do it.
How do you guys feel about the 1st or the 9th for that matter? I'm going to be, I know I have an appointment set up for the 9th, but I think I'd be back in plenty of time for a Barrows meeting.
1st of May,
1st of April,
April Fool's.
April Fool's Day. Yeah. Yeah, we'll fire everybody at the meeting and then they'll just say April Fools.
The first week is good for me.
I can do
First is
April
good.
1st. I'll do
Tuesday the
April
1st is good.
Yep.
And how's
That's good for
Tuesday?
me.
How is Tuesday the 1st?
Monday
It's
the
Monday.
1st.
Or Monday? I'm sorry, Monday the 1st. Excuse me.
Oh, Monday at what time?
Well, 6 p.m. we usually start.
Monday might be hard depending on staffing. Tuesday would be
Oh.
easier, the 2nd.
Okay, I'm sorry. And it's just the 1st. And I'm Lieutenant. You said the 1st and the 8th were good.
For the union, actually the 2nd works for the union,
Okay.
and I can check my emails right now for labor if you'd like.
All right. Yeah, if we can do that. The 2nd is a Tuesday, right?
Yeah, that works
Yes.
for me.
All right. So that works here too.
She didn't say, Attorney Cronin didn't say anything about the 2nd, so we can try and I can.
Okay.
She
Let's
does
try
say for the 2nd one, the 11th, 16th, 18th, and 9th. So those are the 2nd ones.
Okay.
So the 2nd is good for at least 2 of them.
Everybody good with scheduling? I guess we do the first 2 for April 2nd.
That's fine for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Good for me.
I'm good.
And for the second 2, do we want to try to at least throw something out there tentatively and hear back from the rest of the gang? What dates do you think moving forward in April? The following Tuesday, or is it the following Monday?
The following Tuesday is good for labor and the union, so the
I
following
can
two.
do that.
April 9th, okay, and then we'll have a regular
Yep.
board meeting. It'll be 3 Tuesdays in a row. Okay. Everybody else is good with that?
I'm good with it.
All
But we're
right.
April 2nd, April 9th.
April 2nd and April 9th.
And I'll confirm with internal affairs as well. They're
Okay,
usually a little more flexible.
and we got a second step hearing.
We actually will have 3, so we're
Alright.
gonna to cancel Thursday's second step hearing. There was 2 scheduled for there. So we have this new one here and then 2 other ones. I think one should be, Lieutenant Rosem felt the 2 that were scheduled for Thursday would be okay. On one day, so we might need 2 days. Originally last month, the commission did pick a second date on Wednesday, April 3rd for a second step hearing. But we have to cancel that because OIA, nobody in OIA is available for that. So we're back to 3 second step.
Okay, do we want to wait until April 2nd to schedule that, or you guys want to look for something now? I know we have a regular meeting on the 16th. Are we looking at, and we can go as early as April 3rd, maybe, if OIA is okay with that. But that'll give us the 2nd and the 3rd. What's everybody's mindset?
Second and third works for me.
Okay.
So if we do the 3rd, I can only do the new one.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's
The
out.
other two, I know
Yeah,
that both
let's-
the
let's-
sergeant in
let's-
charge and the lieutenant's not available.
Let's get all 3 of them. To what date do you think we'd be able to do all 3? And maybe the 10th, which is a Wednesday. Any thoughts on that?
We talk about
That's-
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, we're talking about April 9th for the hearings, and then the second steps on the 10th.
Wednesdays
do
are
the
not
10th.
good for me.
The
Oh.
10th is good for you, Commissioner Williams? It's not,
Wednesday.
okay. All right. All right, let's put everything on ice for the time being, if that's okay, Lieutenant. We'll try to figure out some times. Worst case scenario, when we see each other again on April 2nd, but hopefully we can have something lined up before that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Sounds good to me. And then, last month, we spoke about the new city tow procedures, that's the word. The tow procedures for those that want to be on our city tow list. I have 4, I know our agenda says 3 applications, but 1 squeezed in at the last minute and we were able to get them inspected. I have 4 applications that I showed you. These have been reviewed by myself, by Sergeant Wilson from the traffic division, and by Nicole, who is in our permits division. Everything here seems at the up and everyone is equal. And so those 4 just need approval from the board to continue and renew their city tow for the April 1st.
Any of the commissioners have any questions?
These are all renewals, right?
All
They currently
renewals.
have-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we did a re-inspection. And the new application, they made sure everything was up to date with their workers' comp insurance and licenses and everything else.
Perfect.
And we've had 3 sets of eyes reviewing this, yourself and the other 2.
Yes, sir.
So, okay. Any other questions? I'll call for a motion to approve the 4 applications.
So moved.
It's been moved by Commissioner Diaz. Is there a second?
Second.
And it's been seconded by Commissioner Williams. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay.
Sir, real quick, I'm sorry. when we have our Barros on the 2nd, another application came on my desk today while I was in training. If we can get the inspection done, can we also do that prior to the Barros, just so, because April 1st is their cutoff?
Yeah, we can do that. It would have to be notified as a separate meeting.
Okay,
One would be a special meeting just for that one item on the agenda.
perfect.
Okay,
Thank you.
so it'll be
Well-
two separate meetings. You can schedule them both for the same time. It doesn't necessarily matter. Or you can schedule one for 5 minutes before the other. Either or, as long as we don't start a meeting before the time that we've posted, we're good.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, anything else with reports, Lieutenant? I know we're going to hear from you again in a second on policies, but that's good for now. Okay.
That's good for now. Yes, sir.
All right. Moving on to new business. Under 3A, we have Council Member Maria Valier to address the board. Is Council Member Valier present? I don't see her. Okay. If she happens to come on, we can come back to her. And it's back to you, Lieutenant, on new business 3B. Request from Lieutenant Stacy Lyons to address the board regarding the review and approval of an update department policies on vehicle operations and prisoner transport.
Yes, thank you, sir. So the state of Connecticut posts, they put in Public Act 23-87, which regulates officers putting a seatbelt on any persons being transported in their vehicles, with some exceptions to it. I did update our 2 policies that cover officers needing to seatbelt individuals in. One is our prisoner transportation policy, which is General Order 5.11, which obviously covers the prisoners. And the other is vehicle operations, which is General Order 5.02. I sent a copy of both of those policies with highlights for any of the changes that are on there. I did, for the most part, just copy what this bill said. The only difference is I added not only physical disability, but mental disabilities as well. I did have Attorney Kasich, our City Attorney Kasich, review it and approve those changes to the policies prior to bringing it to your approval, just to make sure that we are in compliance with it as well. So I just wanted to present those changes to you.
Okay, thank you. You want to take a gander on it, folks, for a minute or so, and then I'll see if we have any questions. Okay.
I will also ensure that I go to every lineup and make sure the officers understand these policies, because I feel that that change is that important to them.
With prisoner transportation, Lieutenant, are you aware, and I'm sorry, were there any particular incidents that that came to light that would require or show that the update was needed?
Not in Bridgeport.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, do you need a few more minutes or? Unless there's any other questions, Any of the commissioners would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that the amendments or the changes to the policy.
Okay, there's a motion to approve from Commissioner Farrow. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Williams. All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, it's carried unanimously. Moving on to old business, we have some traffic items that were tabled last month. Starting with 4A, a request to install handicap parking signs at 91 Jackson Avenue. According to the city traffic engineer, he is recommending approval because the applicant has shown to have no access to the existing driveway.
I did attach a notarized letter, which was the concern from last month's meeting.
Okay,
I believe it might be in the back of the package, but the individual that's requesting did come down to the police department. This is just a copy, but she did come down with an actual notarized letter.
okay. Unless there's any other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion to accept that request.
So moved.
It's been moved by Commissioner Diaz. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Farrow. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Next item is the request to install no parking anytime signs along the east side of Canfield from Brewster Street to King Street, along the west side of Canfield, with just within the intersections with Alfred Street and Princeton Street, and along the north side of Brewster Street from the Bridgeport City line. This particular request, I think he provided, the city traffic engineer provided a map and a fairly good explanation. This is something that I'm very familiar with. It stems from the old movie theaters on Canfield Avenue that were torn down, and 300 new apartment units had been put up. We never really had a traffic issue on Canfield Avenue before because the parking areas were never filled up. On an occasional Saturday night with the movies maybe, but for the most part, it's never been an issue. Now that we have 300 apartments over there, and there's plenty of off-street parking available for those renters, they tend to want to park close to the front entrance as opposed to using the lots. So we've had issues with traffic flow, and that particular intersection occasionally gets a tractor trailer or two, along with other truck traffic. So it was the plan was to kind of free up the room at that intersection as well. So does anybody have any issues or questions? Tom Lyons?
Yeah, we did table this at the February 20th meeting. There was a lot of questions. We did have a very good overview of the property. We did notice that this was 3 city blocks in which they were looking to put no parking signs. Obviously, you were out with your situation, which we, could have used your insight as you've given to us now on this. There was no council persons present. It was tabled only because we were looking for answers as to why 3 city blocks were being blocked off. I did receive a phone call from one of the councilmen the following day. I have to say this, and if it goes on the record, so be it. He was less than cordial, borderline rude, wondering what we were doing, what do we know about, things that are set in stone. We can't make a decision unless you were there. I didn't appreciate it. I did contact the lieutenant, and I did contact Ed Farrell, who was chairing the meeting, not understanding, look, if you're looking for something done, he was looking for an emergency order, and this was just for parking signs. Now, again, more information is always better. I am familiar with the area. I realize it's squeezed, Brewster Street, Canfield, all the way to Princeton. I recommend down the road that if these council people want something, they need to show up. They can't assume that we know what they want. We can't assume they know that these are givens. I do see the need for that there. It is my understanding that this lane from those 3 blocks was once fire zone, and it was painted. But when the road was repaved, they never repainted it. And now they're requesting no parking signs, which technically probably is the same thing. I don't know if any other commissioners have any comments on that. I'm not really opposed to this, but I am opposed to the way that I'm addressed as a commissioner. I'm not asking to be bowed down before, but respect should be given. We don't need council people from any district coming before this board demanding, insisting, questioning our existence, that our terms are expired. I'm not going to tolerate that in the future. If anybody else would like to comment, please do so before a motion is made.
Any other comments or questions for that matter? Commissioner Farrow?
I want to honor and acknowledge what Commissioner Roach is saying. He did call me. I did not personally receive a call, but based on my understanding of what happened, I think it's appropriate for Mr. or Commissioner Lyons to say what he said, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I agree with everything he said, including our understanding of why it might be necessary to put the signs up and everything else. But I agree there has to be a certain level of respect given both ways. And so I'm just going to co-sign what Commissioner Lyons.
Thank you for your comment. Unless there's any other further comments or questions, can I ask for a motion to approve this request?
I'll move.
Motion to approve is made by Commissioner Farrow. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Lyons. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Yep. Thank you, commissioners. I appreciate I just wasn't in any kind of condition. I know I wouldn't have been able to attend the meeting last month, but I was at least hoping I'd be in a position to at least make some calls ahead of time. Unfortunately, I wasn't. But before we move on to the next item under old business, I noticed the Chief of Police has joined us. If we can go back to item 2A, reports, Chief of Police. If that's okay, Chief, we'll turn it over to you.
Yes, thanks, Commissioner. I apologize for being late. I was just getting in and I kind of lost track of time. So please accept my apology for being late. Just a couple things that, and obviously I'm more interested in answering any questions if you had. Just do a quick update in terms of where we are in the department. I'll start with manpower. So we have a class that's in the academy that's going to be graduating next month, the middle of April, and we'll send out invitations. There's 15. We started with 16. One person resigned their position with the academy. So we'll be sending those invitations out to you so you guys can all come if you like. Also, we have begun advertising for lateral transfers, and I'm told there's about 14. And I'm hoping that we're able to take those individuals onto the department. They still have to go through the whole background process as well. So it's just not automatic. They still have to take a polygraph exam, a psychological exam, and have their backgrounds vetted as well. So that's occurring now. So I'm hopeful that we're able to make a dent. And so as we graduate a class and we look to take on laterals, we're also looking to start another class shortly after this one graduate. So we're looking at sometime in May or so, because we like to give our staff a bit of a break. So we're looking sometime May, late May, to start the next academy class. I think it's really important. I think last Wednesday I met with our state delegation, and just so I'll share with you what I shared with them, that with the changes coming to the CMERS pension plan, where there's going to be a cap put on the amount that of the increases each year, it's going to go down to a low number. So we anticipate that we could see a mass or even more retirements. So we need to start planning for that. And what I said to our delegation was that whatever they could do in terms at the state level to address this issue, because it doesn't only affect Bridgeport Police, it affects all of our city employees who are in the CMERS plan, but other communities as well. So I'm trying to look ahead. So July 2025 is a critical time, and it really could impact how we do business if we lose the number of people that we could lose. That we could lose. So if you guys want to meet and talk more intimately and personal about that, I mean, in private about that, we could do that at some point. But that is something that we need to be aware of. So what I say all that to say, we have to keep recruiting, and we have to keep building up the police force as much as we can. Just on crime, we continue to trend in a downward way in crime. Violent crime continues to be down. We did have, unfortunately, a homicide 2 Wednesdays ago or 2 Thursdays ago. A young man unfortunately lost his life. It happened on Olive Street. I believe it was 2 Wednesdays or Thursdays ago, but it happened on a Wednesday or Thursday, and we had a person responsible in jail that Tuesday morning. So we made an arrest very quickly. That was and I wouldn't say this before because I didn't want to jinx us. That was the first homicide we had since September. So we went from September of 2023 until March of 2024, and we had not had a homicide. So and that's due in large part to obviously some good luck and people acting accordingly, and the great work of the police officers in our detective bureau. So we were able to put that down relatively quickly. But overall, we continue to trend in a good direction. We have started our Nexus Lexus program. So if you want to, or any citizen or any resident of Bridgeport wants to go onto our websites, they can pull up crime statistics in their neighborhood in real time. So they'll be able to see the change in crime stats in a real time basis and they'll be able to gauge what's going on in their community. So I'm really excited about that. It really gives the residents the opportunity to see what's going on. It's just a continuation of our efforts to be transparent and look for feedback from any residents regarding what's going on in their communities. But with that, I don't want to just preach to you or talk to you. Any questions, I'll be more than happy to take any questions.
Any questions, Commissioner Farrow?
Yes, Chief. Just following up on that call I made to you previously about the trucks, and Danny, you might, Commissioner Roach, you may be able to weigh in on this as well. I sent pictures of what looked like some type of tow bed or whatever it is, some kind of car carrying tractor, trailer, or whatever in front of one of the residents' homes that's being consistently parked there. And it sounds like, from what I'm hearing from the constituent, that she still has this thing parked consistently in front of her house, which makes it difficult for her to exit her particular driveway because she can't see around the truck. Not to mention the fact that it's parked directly in front of her home on it. And so just wondering, what are we doing about that kind of thing? It's one thing we've been dealing with what's been happening under the underpasses or the bridges, but now we're talking about having them parked in front of people's homes. And I think that's just a little extra.
Yeah, so I remember the picture you sent, and we did send someone out, and I think we did take some action on that, but I'll double check and follow up with you on that. So many of these individuals who drive these type vehicles live in the neighborhoods. They are not illegal on the streets. They can't they can't stay overnight, but during the day, it just can't be an obstruction. That's the way I read the law, unless it's changed. It continues to be something that we've been chasing for the last several years with the influx of tractor trailer drivers in the city. It's an ongoing issue, and we continue to respond. And if it creates an obstruction, like you mentioned, where it was blocking her visual to come out, we could take some enforcement action. But if they're parked legally, if they're parked properly, and it's not creating an obstruction, they can do that during the day. They just can't stay overnight, as weird as that may sound. But it's something that we continue to address in that effort. And I heard you mention it earlier about, or Commissioner Roach mentioned about that new area out in Black Rock. So we have gotten some calls regarding the not only us, but we've been in touch. I've been in touch with Fairfield with the increase in traffic in that area. So we are looking this year. One of our goals is to be more proactive with motor vehicle moving violations. So that's something we're looking to do. But yeah, anytime we get calls regarding the tractor trails, we continue to respond. I haven't, knock on wood, but the warm weather's coming. I haven't gotten a lot of calls lately regarding those. I haven't gotten a lot of complaints. So I'm not sure if people are just they found other places to park or anything like that.
So what should she do? Because it seems like what happens is, and I'm not sure what the police are doing about it, because apparently whatever they're doing is not a deterrence to continuing to act.
I believe that person. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I mean, whether they live there or not, I don't. I know in a lot of towns you can't even park certain commercial vehicles in your driveway, let alone obstruct people's vision to the street and everything. So I just how are we really addressing this? And I mean, this is an elderly person sitting there with this this vehicle parked in front of her home. I mean, it's her home. So if they live there, park in front of your own home, right? If you're, if it's okay, park in front of your home, but why would you obstruct someone else's vision?
Well, it's not okay. Like the chief says, overnight parking, it's not allowed. So you're saying, Commissioner Farrow, this is ongoing. So, as we speak, the thing's probably parked there. So maybe it's a question of providing an address, either the chief or either one of the officers with us tonight, if they can get the word to patrol that, to take a ride by this evening and tag that vehicle if it's in fact there this evening.
Yeah, if you could send it to me again, Commissioner, I know because that was some time ago when you sent it to me. If you could send me that location again, I'll have someone go out again tonight and take a look at it.
I will do that. And here's I'm going to add this, and obviously she doesn't have any proof, evidence of this, but she suggests that subsequent to her original complaint, she has trash thrown in her yard, and she feels like it might have been some kind of retaliation for doing exactly what I'm talking about, calling to complain to say, hey, this shouldn't be here. And so that's what I'm concerned about. Like people, one, they shouldn't deal with that, but secondly, they shouldn't have to worry about retaliation. And they
I got you. I understand. Yeah. And I hope that's not the case, but if it's something that we could prove, we definitely would take the appropriate action.
Thank you.
Okay. But send me that information, please.
Any other questions for the chief? Okay, thank you, Chip. And good work on the lateral transfers and good luck moving forward with that. That's something that had been biting at me for several years, and the progress you've made has been impressive. So I wanted to say thanks publicly for that. And unless there's anything else for the chief, if you have anything else for us, otherwise we can move on. Thank you, Chief.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner.
All right.
Good.
Okay. Getting back to old business, 4C. Actually, 4C and 4D are very similar. I would like to combine those. It's a request to remove a handicap parking sign, the 2 locations on Alsace Street in Seaside Village. This is, something that we don't cover as much as we should, but handicap parking signs get left up a lot longer than the applicant has been need of it. So, and all the paperwork was filed properly from what I understand. So unless there's any questions on it, I'd love to entertain a motion to combine 4C and 4D and approve those requests.
So moved.
It's been moved by Commissioner Diaz. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Lyons. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. And this last one, I'm a little bit gray on, but the request to install more long-term ADA parking adjacent to the Water Street train station. It seems like the request was made by an individual who, a Kathleen Alderman. I'm not really sure what her title is or what her connection is with it. And please pardon my ignorance, ADA stands for what? Can anybody help me with that?
Americans with Disabilities.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Figured there was an attorney that could settle that for me. Thank you. So I understand that the city traffic engineer says, according to their review, it's not feasible. There's 15-minute parking, ADA parking, that's been established with the streetscape project there. And he's noting that the parking garage located at 70 State Street is intended for long-term parking. But again, I don't know too much about this request. If anybody would like to jump in, Commissioner Farrow.
Yeah, and help of Lieutenant Lyons, if she can refresh my memory completely, but and Commissioner Lyons also. But my understanding is that there is parking there for handicap or ADA or whatever, however you want to deal with it. I think the request has more to do with there not being enough of it. And the question is, how many do you add before you have enough? Is I think essentially what that conversation evolved to. If Commissioner Lyons and Lieutenant Lyons want to further elaborate, but the question is like, all right, they have them. You add one more, then the person gets there the next time, and that one's, someone's parked there. Do you come back later on and ask for yet another? Because unfortunately, the ones that were available have now been utilized, and so I think that was the gist of the conversation. And I think we tabled it to get more feedback, if necessary, from yourself and any of the other commissioners who wanted to weigh in on it.
Yeah, I really can't. I can't voice an opinion on this myself. I'm just not familiar with enough. It appears that the 15-minute parking may not be enough, and they're looking for long-term, and they want us to establish a separate set of spaces or area for long-term parking. But I don't know what the rest of the board thinks, but I kind of agree with Ed that we probably needs a little bit more information, or as to why it's needed and why, other than the basic explanation given by Powell, why he says it's not necessary and why he thinks kind of gets me a little bit. He says, well, there's long-term parking available across the street. If you're disabled, I don't know how much good that does you.
Well, and Commissioner Williams is on the call now, and I believe Commissioner Williams might have been the person who initially raised the question. So she's here, so maybe she can speak for herself on that.
Yeah, when you and I think I agree with everything that was said, and that's what we were wanting answer for, to determine if we should or should not approve it. And I think that's what we're still waiting for, because again, there is long-term parking. And and there are handicap signs down there already. So that's why we're asking for more information on this request. And that's why we tabled it. So, and I'm inclined to, deny the request because we tabled it for a month.
Commissioners, if we would like to table it one more time, and that's up to you, I can see if Paul will join us on the next meeting and try to explain it a little bit more. I know he doesn't usually join, but he has mentioned that he doesn't mind doing it if necessary. But if anyone has driven by that area and has, because I think last meeting, Commissioner Cruz, who I know wasn't available this month, stated she wanted to drive by there. If anybody's driven by there and decides to agree with Commissioner Williams and Commissioner Farrell that 2 will never be enough, and then 3 or 4 or 5. But if you want to table it, I can see if Paul will join us next month.
I actually agree with both the commissioners and would be willing to vote against it or vote in accordance with Powell, with the engineer. The engineers are against it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I would vote in accordance with engineering and the other commissioners.
This point, unless there's any more discussion, we'll either entertain them. I'll either entertain a motion to table or a motion to approve the recommendation of the city traffic engineer. Which direction would you folks like to go?
Well, I would make a motion, this is our second time tabling it. And if there's no answer, my motion is to table this one more time. And if we do not have a concrete answer or, explanation for this, I would move to deny the request. That's my motion.
So there's a motion to table with the thought of denial if we don't hear back from anybody in the next month or we don't get adequate explanation. So the motion to table, is there a second? Not all at once now. Any second? Okay. The motion to table fails since it goes unseconded. Would anybody else care to make another motion?
Commissioner Roach already motion. I'll withdraw my motion. I'll second Commissioner Williams' motion.
Okay, so the motion to table is back on the floor and someone has offered to second it, Commissioner Farrell. All those in favor of tabling?
Aye.
We have 1 in favor. Anybody else?
I'd be in favor. Aye.
Folks, we need everybody to participate, please. When you're asked to vote or
Commissioner Aye.
move or second, we need people to speak up. Thank you.
Commissioner
So
Aye.
motion to table and been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay.
No.
Motion's been tabled. Thank you. Correspondence, none. Letters of appreciation, none. We have nothing under widows' pensions. We have 2 requests for this month under the city traffic engineer. One is to approve the handicap parking sign at 110 Lewis Street. The application was in order. There was no reason for the city traffic engineer to question it. So unless anybody has any issues with it, I entertain a motion to approve the request under 8A.
So moved.
It's been moved by Commissioner Lyons. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Williams. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. 8A has been approved. We have 2 requests from the city traffic engineer not to approve handicap parking sign applications. One is for 377, 379 Carroll Avenue, and the other one is for 20 Reed Street, apartment 12. I believe in both these instances, there's off-street parking available unless there's any other, if I'm missing something or if there's any other communications that I haven't seen. Lieutenant Lyons, is there any other paperwork involved with those two requests or not, or that you're aware of?
I gave the whole package that I have for both of
Okay,
them.
all righty.
Commissioner Roach,
Yes,
I see that Councilwoman Martinez is on. Maybe she can give us a little insight on that. That's her district, right? The Carolyn Reed.
139th.
Yeah, Carroll Avenue and Reed.
Councilwoman Martinez,
Would you like to?
I know you joined us at the beginning of the meeting. You're there.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I wasn't going to speak, but I wanted to just address as to why the Carroll and Reed Street applications are not approved by the engineer department. I believe these are two elderly residents at these two locations, and perhaps that's why they're applying for handicap signs, because although we do have street parking on the east end and throughout the city of Bridgeport as a whole, when there's a lot of members in a household that tend to have 2, 3, 4 cars, it's hard for you to find parking space in front of where you live at. And for a handicapped person to walk a few feet from their door, it's a lot for them when they're in need.
Councilwoman, are you familiar with both these applicants by any chance?
I'm familiar with the addresses, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
I'm familiar with the two residents that live at those addresses.
Well,
Not
and
familiar with the applications as a whole.
if there is,
Inform me about the application.
right. What we usually, and I'm sorry, I don't have the paperwork in front of me, but if the applicant, usually if the applicant turns in an affidavit or something signed by the landlord saying that the off-street parking is not available to them, that usually makes a difference. So I don't know if that's something you may want to follow up with your constituents there, as opposed to us not approving it. At least that would give them an opportunity to show that the off-street parking is not available to them.
Commissioner Roach, we also need to understand that when the residents apply for this handicap sign, if someone else that has a handicap sign parks there, there's nothing they can say or nothing they can do. So they have to be aware of that. If this is a,
you're absolutely right.
That's gonna cause a problem, because the person's gonna feel that it's their sign.
It's their particular sign. Yeah. I mean,
If this is what I'm hearing, that it's an elderly, location. So there may be someone else that has a handicap sign and they get there first, and then now, the person A applied for it, but person B sees that and takes the park.
Yep. And that's always the case with any of these. You're right. It's not, there's no ownership.
The caveat to that is that they both deserve it.
These are, well, no, we're talking about
either or, be it the first person or the second person. If they have a handicap sticker and have handicap, either one of them deserve it. So if one of them get there before the other one, it's okay. As long as we deserve it.
I'm perfectly clear with that, but I think what happens is it becomes an ownership.
Yeah, but that's not our problem. Our problem is to make sure that person has.
That's going to become that, but that becomes
and it becomes an issue where there's a second resident that has a handicap permit that's using. Then someone needs to come back and ask for an adjacent sign. But and Commissioner, you're absolutely right. We run into that every once in a while, and that's something that I think is conveyed to the applicant. If I remember correctly, that it's been approved, it will be installed, but it's not designated just for yourself, kind of thing.
Commissioner?
Yes.
Real quick. So 377, 379 Carroll, in the package, he owns the home. He's just saying that the ability to go from his driveway to the house is difficult.
Okay, thank you.
He'd prefer a street address. or a street parking if possible.
Right.
So that might relieve Commissioner
Okay.
Williams'
And I,
concern.
and I know, from what I understand, 20 Reed Street, there's off-street parking available. But we need to know if, unless you have something in front of you that I don't, and I'm sorry, I don't have the paperwork in front of me.
According to the application from the Department of Health, it says that there is a parking lot available, but there's high fees to park in it. So I'm not, I don't know that area, so maybe the councilwoman can explain that a little bit more, but that's what the application states.
So that being the case, I mean, just a suggestion from me that we turn down, or we agree with the city traffic engineer's recommendation on the first item under 8B, as far as Carroll Ave is concerned, but it's the owner who obviously has control over his driveway. He would just prefer to have a handicap sign, which is all well and good, but it's not something we're in the business of doing. And as far as the second item is concerned, I would suggest we table that, and maybe Councilwoman Martinez might be able to get some more information. It sounds that might be something we might want to maybe approve down the road. If in fact it's there's a cost factor involved for the applicant with the off-street parking. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Unless there's anything else, I'd entertain a motion to approve the request of the city traffic engineer, which is not to approve item 8B1, 377 and 379 Carroll Avenue. Is there a motion to that effect? Nobody cares to make a motion. Does anybody like to make another motion, a different motion?
Well, so essentially we're reversing our original vote.
No.
We
There
haven't
was no-
voted on this.
This is new this month, right?
Right. But I
Right.
thought,
Okay.
all right, so then I'll move that we accept the city engineer's request at 8B to not approve to install the handicap parking sign at 377-379 Carroll Ave.
Okay, motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Okay, the motion passes. Item 8B2, entertain a motion to table.
I'll do that. So moved.
Motion's made by Commissioner Diaz. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Lyons. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Opposed.
Lieutenant Lyons, before we adjourn, did we have any addendums that I may have missed? I'm sorry, I just got to this, a lot of this afternoon. Oh, do we have anything else? Oh, you're muted, kid.
Sorry. No, sir, I squeezed in with the second steps. I believe that was all I had.
Okay, all right, very good. Unless we have something else, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
It's been moved in. Is there a second? Seconded. Moved and seconded by many. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, everybody. Meeting
Thank
is
you.
adjourned.
Good night.
Take care, guys.
I
Have a
know.
good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Too.